This is Mental Selling, the sales podcast for people who are dedicated to making a difference in customers' lives. We're here to help you unlock sales talent, win more relationships, and transform your business with integrity. I'm your host, Haley Parr. Let's get right into it. Welcome to the Mental Selling Podcast, brought to you by Integrity Solutions, where we dive into the mindset and skill set behind high-performance sales leadership. I'm your host, Haley Parr, and I'm so excited to dive into a topic that's not just timely, but fundamentally reshaping how we sell, which is selling in the age of AI. Whether you're a seasoned sales leader or someone working in sales enablement, you've likely felt the impact AI is having on our industry. From automated tools to AI-powered insights, it's clear that technology is playing an increasingly vital role in how we sell. It's so exciting, but it raises an important question. Even as AI continues to evolve the way we sell, why do people still win? In today's episode, we'll explore exactly that, how AI can make sales teams even more efficient, allowing them to do more with less while also reinforcing why human connections, trust, and authenticity remain irreplaceable in the sales process. Joining me for part one of a previously recorded webinar conversation are Amanda Ervin, Senior Learning and Performance Consultant, and Amara Hunt, Chief Product Officer from Integrity Solutions. They'll be sharing practical insights on how AI fits into modern sales strategies and where the human edge still matters most. Let's get started.
There's a lot of stuff that we could talk about in the context of AI, and this is what we're going to be focusing on today. We always want to make sure that these webinars are practically applied. So what we're going to be looking at is our perspective from a really unique seat. Obviously, we're all bringing a different lens to AI, and this is just one of the ways in which we can take a look at what is available to us and how we can use it.
I think that's great. And we're starting to see this, like I said, creep into our organizations already. So Amara and I, what would be really helpful to understand is all of you that are out there, how are you starting to see AI be leveraged by your own organizations, right? How are your sales teams leveraging it? How are you as leaders leveraging it?
Amanda, I know that there's a bunch that really speak to my bias and your bias as people in sales. Some of the ones that I definitely see a lot of interest in right now are those query bots, as well as proposal acceleration, and of course, note-taking. Any that you're kind of drawn to that you feel like your go-to?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. I think when we say AI, it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Some people, it means robots are taking over the world. Some people have a much more sophisticated look of it. And so I'm seeing a lot in that chatbots and being able to help us leverage communication more effectively. Those kind of easy, quick hit ways that we can take a great deal of data and start to sift it down, account research, right? And that prospecting. And as we start to move accounts through the sales cycle and everything from even coaching and SDRs and some other is an interesting topic. And I hope that we start to see this in some questioning maybe towards the end. But I almost want to call it one of the most telling answers. And that's the one that didn't get anything, Amara. Not using AI, right? Like everybody in their organizations, or at least as individuals, seems to be utilizing this. So I want to call out one of the things that we're seeing is a commonality among this AI technology we're seeing. And that really is productivity, right? So with shrinking budgets, longer deal cycles, sales leaders being really under pressure to do more with less, AI is dominating our conversations because it offers that efficiency, right? Without sacrificing quality, letting us automate those repetitive tasks like the note-taking, from a marketing perspective, even some lead scoring, and then sellers' boots on the ground, right, for follow-ups and account research. And AI is uniquely positioned to do this because we all, as humans and as businesses out on the World Wide Web in our digital communications, leave these digital footprints, right? And it's a lot of digital noise. So you've got sellers out there that are trying to be more strategic by filtering out all that noise and helping direct them towards better selling. However, we just don't have the capacity to filter it in the way that an AI tool can, right? So you're going to see those companies that are adopting AI sales just are not more efficient. They're going to start setting the new benchmark for what speed and personalization and accuracy is by which we will all be measured. Right? So there will start to be this shift in buyer expectation of this hyper personalization that AI is going to allow us to do at scale. So I'm glad to see we're starting to use this. We are going to see it become a standard operating procedures, right? And so those companies that are adopting AI will set our benchmark. As we transition into this, it's funny, Amir, I get this question a lot as I'm out there talking to sales professionals and sales leaders. And you, the leaders here on the ground and sellers, may even be feeling this yourself. But the question is AI going to replace me as a salesperson, right? Is AI going to be the replacement? And here's what I will say. AI is going to replace the parts of selling that people don't like to do, right? So sellers need to start viewing AI as this co-pilot that we use to help sellers become more efficient, become more relevant to customers. And no, I'm not being paid by Microsoft to use the word co-pilot, but man, that's a good name because that's really what it should be, right? So as we transition into how we can start leveraging this, let me tell you that sellers should not be worried about AI replacing you. What they should be worried about is the other salespeople out there who are going to start learning to leverage that AI. Those people who are going to use it to be faster, smarter, more efficient, and essentially more valuable to your customers than you are. So that's what I would tell some of those sellers who are a little hesitant about this is, man, this could be one of your greatest tools if you don't view it as one of your greatest enemies as a seller.
Yeah, I think that is such an important point because right now the conversation about AI is so ubiquitous. It feels like it is absolutely everywhere. And in some ways that it is. But really being able to lean in and discern what the AI is really great at doing versus what someone I know who says the AI is a bit BS at doing. So making sure that we have this balance between how do we believe this advancement in technology can, as Amanda said, enable the way that we do things with more efficiency and effectiveness.
Let's pause here for a moment. We've just heard about some of the ways AI is reshaping sales. Faster research, automated notes, shorter deal cycles, all of it. And yeah, that stuff matters. It's making all of us more efficient than ever. But let's not kid ourselves. AI is just a tool. Where's the real magic? The real magic is still happening in those human moments of selling. When we combine these tools with trust, authenticity, and emotional intelligence, that is what builds real relationships. That is what moves complex deals forward. And ultimately, that's what's closing the deals that really matter. So as you keep listening, here's something I'd like you to sit with. How can you balance those forces? How are you using AI to make yourself sharper without losing that all-important human touch? Because remember, the goal isn't to replace the human side of selling, but to amplify it. And AI gives you speed, but it's the human connection that closes the deal. So let's keep going.
So we're not talking about selling fidget spinners. We're talking about situations in which we need to be engaged in complex sales. So those sales that are large scale, high value deals, multiple decision-making points, a longer sales cycle, sometimes even customized solutions. These are the sales in which it's not enough just to be working with an AI, but instead understanding the importance of relationships, of emotional intelligence and social skills in order to create those human connections. Because when it comes down to decision-making, particularly in complex and consultative selling, there are two really important variables that we need to keep in mind, which should be underpinning much of the conversation that we're having around some of the limitations of AI. So first, a couple of stats for you. 32% describe sales professionals as trustworthy. Those are the people we're willing to buy from. Additionally, 88% of buyers only buy when they view a salesperson as a trusted advisor. Now, that's really important because trustworthiness and authenticity are two of the biggest differentiators that you can use as a salesperson in order to advance your sales. Now, when we think about where AI can support us, it can support us in the research, it can support us in accelerating some deal velocity. It can even support us in some of these SDR scenarios. Although if I pick up the phone and I can tell that it's an AI voiceover right away, I'm putting the phone down so that there are limitations right out of the gate. But I want us to think about the role that trust and authenticity plays in the decisions that we make on a daily basis when it comes to selling, and also recognize that there is an emotional component to the ways in which people buy. It doesn't matter if you have a buying committee of, 10 different individuals, maybe they're all in the C-suite, maybe it's a bunch of CFOs. At the end of the day, emotion does play a big role in how people make decisions.
I think this is really important is because AI is new and it's sexy and it's what we're talking about. And people are trying to be the first to get the newest and the latest and greatest. But as AI becomes the standard of efficiency in our industries, right? And as products and the services we provide become more commoditized, it is going to be those people and the trust and the credibility that we build that will be our differentiators, right? And keeping in mind that buyers today don't need sellers to sell them anything anymore, right? Like, keep in mind that we as sales professionals and leaders have AI and we're thinking about the tools we can use to connect with our customers. So too are the customers beginning to utilize AI to help them buy more efficiently, right? So buyers oftentimes come to us thinking, I already know what I need to buy. I've done my research. I've used my AI chatbot to search for something that I need. And if we go to them and provide them those specs and features and what it does, and we talk about what we have, and then we just tell them how much it is, I would argue that I could replace that with a mouse click, right? We no longer need sellers or sales reps to hawk products, services, and prices. What we need is for them to leverage these incredibly uniquely human skills to become those trusted advisors, right?
So, as we're diving into the world of complex sales, those high-value deals with long sales cycles, multiple decision makers, and often customized solutions, we should really pause and reflect on a critical point. AI can certainly support us in the research and analysis side of things. I mean, you've seen it, speeding up processes like data gathering or proposal acceleration. But when it comes to actually making decisions in these high-stakes sales, it's not just about the numbers or the features. It's about the relationships and the nuances of who they entail. Trust, authenticity, and emotional intelligence are the driving forces behind these human connections. And this is where the real value lies. And it's why you, the human, still have an edge in the decision-making process, even with AI at your side.
I recently had a customer who used ChatGPT to find integrity solutions, right? They said, I need a sales training we're selling a new product and I need a proven sales company that aligns with our values. And sure enough, Integrity Solutions came to the top of the list. Good news, Integrity Solutions sells sales trainings, right? For the development of people, we use proven IP, we have all those learning strategies. Great. And so in the write-up of what this company needed, essentially they're basically saying, hey, we have a long outstanding product we've used forever. We've decided to transition to a new one. And so now our sellers are not selling it. They're not building it into solutions. They're still kind of selling the old stuff. And we need sales training to get them to sell the new stuff. And so he easily could have walked in on that and said, hey, guess what? We've got sales training to help you do that. But as a seller, I used my AI tools to do a little research, right? Understand what major changes have gone on in this company in the past 2 years. what are some of the company's strategy in 2025, 2026, and what are the strategic initiatives and major changes that they have planned? That's the tool of AI that can give me the insight and the research. And sure enough, I found that they ended up having to close some locations. They laid off some very high-level subject matter experts in this old product that they were retiring. And so when I had a chance to talk to the seller, the conversation was, wow, you guys have made some big changes. And I know you're looking to reduce expenses in anticipation of this product, and we're trying to grow our revenue. But let me pause for just a minute because there are a lot of big changes. Well, what's that like for you, for the sales teams, for the culture? And that sales leader, kid you not, stopped in his tracks and he said, you're the first person that asked me that. He said, not just the vendors that we're looking at, but you're the first person who's asked me that. And do you know how hard that was? And he went into this, long-standing culture and all the different variables that went into how difficult this is. And sure enough, his people don't want to sell it. They have an affinity for the old product. They don't have belief in product. They don't have the culture that they felt they had. And so now they're not closing and they're not asking for the business. So guess what? Do they need sales training? Yeah, they probably do. But they don't just need sales skills. We need to refocus on that sales mindset and the culture. What's stopping them from selling? What he didn't need me to do is come in and sell him sales training. What this customer needed was a consultative sales professional to not sell him what he was asking for, but leverage these uniquely human skills to sell him what he needed. And that's where we're going to have an advantage, because selling isn't just logical, right? And it's this kind of self-fulfilling fallacy that we believe that we buy logically. But there's a huge component of emotion that goes into how we buy and what we buy. And so when you're thinking about this, either as you can relate it to some customers or your own buying,
I hope you've gained some fresh perspectives on how AI is changing the sales landscape. And more importantly, how we can embrace these changes without losing the human touch that makes us truly effective as sales professionals. Technology is advancing at an incredible pace, and there's no question that AI is a game changer. But at the end of the day, it's our ability to build authentic relationships and trust with our customers that sets us apart. That human connection is irreplaceable, and it's what keeps customers coming back, not just for a sale, but for a partnership. Be sure to tune in to next episode for part 2 of this conversation. And if you're looking for a way to accelerate sales performance this year, we invite you to build your sales performance roadmap, aligned to your goals and designed to close skill gaps, strengthen customer trust, and deliver measurable growth. To learn more or get started, visit integritysolutions.com. Thanks for listening. Thank you for joining us on Mental Selling. If today's conversation resonated with you, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your network. For more insights on how to go beyond winning deals and build real customer relationships, visit integritysolutions.com. See you next time.